Cool. So I'm here with Eileen Brown from H&R Block, and she's just going to go through some of the basics of filing for taxes with me for students, because it's something that's really confusing and I don't even understand it. All right, so the very most basic question for students is, do I even need to do this? Do I have to file for taxes? So what's your take on that?
It is always best to file a tax return because it shows a record of income that you've received, that you may need for student loans, that you may need for the future if you're going to purchase a home, or just to show a record to the IRS and have it logged in.
Another strange thing for students is that you're a dependent usually on your parents' tax return. So do I still file, or how can I file differently, or do I even want to continue filing as a dependent on my parents' tax return?
Well, your exemption is what's in question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very important, people make this mistake all the time. So it's best to talk to your parents and see if they're claiming you as a dependent on their tax return. If they are, that does not mean that you can't file. You still want to file. So if they're claiming you as a dependent on their tax return, there's some tests that determine dependency. And if they are supporting your university stay or your college stay and your tuition and whatnot, there are credits related to that.
Okay, so really simple question here. What is actually the difference between a credit and a deduction?
That's a good question. So a deduction will lower your income so that when you look at the tax tables, you're going to be taxed on a lower taxable income. A credit lowers taxes directly. So, and there are refundable credits, and there's credits that will bring your tax down to zero.
Okay, so now we get into some of the good stuff. What are some kind of unique tax credits, tax deductions that a student can take? Maybe things that usually people don't realize to file for.
Well, with the new Recovery Act that just passed, there is a credit that has really changed in a very big way for students. And so, of course, there's the HOPE credit, which has been around for a while. And the HOPE credit is targeted to assist individuals who are in their freshman or their sophomore year, the first 2 years. The HOPE credit goes up to $1,500. What it does is it will reduce your taxes. It won't create a refund, but it'll bring your taxes down to zero, up to $1,500. So it's a substantial credit. After that, HOPE credit, then there's the lifetime learning credit. The lifetime learning credit caps up at $2,000. With the new Recovery Act that just passed, like 3 weeks ago, there is the new American Opportunity Education Tax Credit. And what that is, it's an enhanced HOPE credit. So it takes instead of just the first 2 years, freshman and sophomore, it expands it to 4 years of learning credit. And it moves that $1,500 to $2,500, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. It includes expenses like the purchase of a computer, things that are used for the college stay. And then it takes the $2,500 credit, or whatever the credit is, anything up to caps at $2,500, and makes 40% of it refundable. So if any of it is unused, it can actually move you into a refund, which is very cool and brand new.
So what are some ways that H&R Block can help a student, whether I'm filing online or whether I'm filing with H&R Block or the family's accountant? What are some things that you guys offer?
We'll check a person's tax return for $29. So if there's missing items on someone's tax return, and that happens 4 out of 5 times. So when we check someone else's tax return, whether it's the family CPA, whether it's dad's always done my taxes type of thing, or whether I was online and I used this type of service, we'll check that tax return.
So, all right, at the very basics, I've got someone else perhaps preparing for me, or maybe I'm doing it myself. But what do I need actually to start with? What are the actual forms that I need to get this rolling?
You need your W-2, if you've got a W-2. If you're self-employed, you need the books on that. You need to show the income. So anything related to income, whether it's taxable or not taxable, that's something the tax professional will assist in determining. Some items are not taxable, some are. And then any documents that come through the mail. So if someone's got stock trades, which is common, then we need to see that paperwork in order to determine what portion of it is taxable or not taxable. So statements from financial institutions, and then also expenses related to fees that a student has incurred during the year.
So basically, I just want to save all school-related expenses in a brown bag or manila folder, write it all down in a nice chart, and then also keep all forms that say letter-number,
Right.
And send those in, and then I'm pretty much taken care of, right?
Absolutely. Most tax documents say tax documents enclosed on the outside of the envelope. So, those you want to definitely bring in.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks a lot, Eileen. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the students appreciate it. They might have to watch through the video a few times to get through like some of the jargon and write down all the credits, but we really, really appreciate
Not
your
at all.
time. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.